Sometimes when I'm thinking about us, before we got lost and we parted, back to back we would carry on and we'd do anything for what we started. But this time we could break. I'm running dry, everything's the same. We'll try tonight. This time we're not safe and sound, not safe and sound. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. Sometimes when I'm reasoning about us, I know you got me, it's so effortless. Back to back we would carry on and we'd do anything for what we started. But this time we could break. I'm running dry, everything's the same. We'll try tonight. This time we're not safe and sound, not safe and sound. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me?
Well, that was weird.
Hey.
I'm going to assume that was user error. I'm going to assume I hit the wrong button or something. And I'm going to try not to do it again. No.
Yeah.
I blame YouTube. How you doing, Blunty? Good to be with you.
Good. How's it going?
Good.
We're back.
Very good. Yeah, I missed the news. The news is probably the thing I missed the most. I don't know why. I mean, I like my live streams, but just getting together and talking about the developments in the world of FPV.
It's because
Yeah.
it's because I pull the stories and you just show up and we get to talk, right? So it's like it's a nice segment. It's a fun segment.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, someone else does all the hard work, and I just get to not prepare, show
why?
up, and
You know
what?
why I say that? Because the Q&As are the opposite for me. Because I get to sit and not talk on mic most of the time, and not be on camera, and I get to queue up questions. And
You
it's way
enjoy
better.
that, but do you really enjoy the Q&As? Like, because I could see that being just kind of like 2 hours of sitting there, just listening to me talk.
It's not. I mean, I'm helping people on Discord anyway half the time. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's nice.
Dude,
I enjoy it.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we're very happy to be here with news in the world of FPV.
Yeah.
This is not our news, but what did Ken Heron do? Clark Drone Film. This is not a Q&A, but I have to. What did Ken Heron do that Clark Drone Films is scandalized about? Should we be
I'm not
musing
sure,
about
like
that?
Three people have told me that, and
they're like, "Oh, what do you think about Ken Heron's video? Is it newsworthy?" What did he do? Are people still triggered by drones? Let's find out. Oh, Ken is always pushing the limits. What did he do? Did he fly drones near people and see if they got pissed off?
I mean, I hope
We
not.
want to
That
find
does
out,
seem like
do
what the
people
thumbnail
like
implies.
drones? And rather than going up to them and asking them if they like drones, I thought we'd just fly up in their face with a drone and see how they react.
That's a good way to get in.
It's a good plan. Solid.
Oh my goodness. Well,
It's like organized bot grinder.
yeah.
You know?
I was probably a tiny whoop, right? It was probably a tiny
I hope
whoop.
so.
I hope so. I don't know. I don't have an opinion about that right now. I haven't watched it, but thank you for pointing that out. Ken Heron can be a little bit of a bonehead, but he's a lovable bonehead, and I think he would agree with that statement. So it was the Avada. Bot wouldn't do the stuff Ken did. Wow, that's saying a lot. Anyway, we're not here. What's that? We're not here to talk about Ken. No. We're here to talk about the news.
We're here to talk about the news and something we haven't had in quite a while. If you go back, if you're an avid news listener, you'll know that it's been a long time since we've had a PSA, a proper PSA, and we don't just have one, we have two PSAs today. So I want to let you know about the first one, which is HDZero goggle issues. If you're on the latest firmware of HDZero goggles, the long and short of it, before we explain the issue, is you should have the head tracking feature enabled. That's like the number one thing to take away from this from this conversation. If you're on 9.3.0 firmware, which is the, I think, November firmware, which is the latest one for the HDZero goggle, if you enable head tracker, you avoid most of this bug from our understanding. So basically what's happening.
Can I ask, is the head tracker enabled by default? And you would have had to, what's the default situation?
I'm not, I can't tell you that one. I'm not sure.
The
Maybe
bottom
some people
line,
in chat could tell us.
you need to double check that it's enabled. Go ahead.
Yes, correct. Yes. So basically what happens is there's a bug that causes, as far as I can tell from reading through these issue reports, I apologize if I get it wrong. We've linked the issue reports in the description, but my understanding is that there is erroneous signals that could come from either VRX module and travel through the system to trigger a button press.
So like there's a problem with the electrical isolation where the from the receiver module.
It's fixable with firmware, but I think that's maybe because it's ignoring the button or allowing changing like the functionality of the button.
Oh yeah, no, that's easy. You can, like, I remember doing button press detection in Arduino, where you have debounce and all these software things, like how long does the button have to be held, and it's really easy to clean up software noise like that. But like, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically, if this erroneous button gets hit, sometimes that will cause the goggles to go into sleep mode, and that sleep mode causes the goggles to black out. Now, my understanding is in most cases it will come back on because you're actively using it, or you maybe have to scroll the wheel or hit a button but if you're back on.
If you're flying, that could be a deal breaker.
Yes, 100%. It's long enough that you could crash, that sort of thing. So it is. But my understanding is with head tracker on, that sleep function is not possible on 9.3.0. So the same version of firmware that this has the bug on, if you turn the head tracker on, it can't go into sleep mode from the erroneous button press. There's another report I found in the issues of a menu popping up instead of the sleep, and that could pop up. But I only found one or two reports of that, and I'm not 100% sure. With any issues like this, especially when you're reading the raw feed on GitHub of people reporting this stuff, maybe you're going to get some erroneous reporting and things, but we can only share what we know of the issue.
Yeah, the sleep mode is really a big deal because the HDZero goggles take a little while to power up, and so if you and they suck some battery power too. So like you kind of, if you're using them for a long day of flying, you're kind of in a tough situation where you kind of want to turn them off, but you don't want to have to wait for them to boot up when somebody's about to fly and you're like, ooh, let me watch. Like, so the sleep mode is like, it's a perfect, except oops, now it has this bug where it could just turn your goggles off while you're flying, which is kind of a big deal. So on 9.3, on the release firmware, if you keep the head tracker on, it's all good. You fixed it. Right?
Yeah, we think, at least the blackout seemed to not be possible because it can't sleep, and then it's possible a menu could pop up erroneously from a button press hitting the menu, but again, I can't really confirm that. I just know there are a couple of reports.
And Black Jungle, go ahead.
I'll just say the next firmware will fix this. So as soon as they release another version of the firmware, or if you flash the master, my understanding is this has already been fixed in the thing, and we've got the pull request listed also in the description, so you can see that pull of the code.
Okay. And as Black Jungle asks in the Discord, can you not just disable sleep mode in the menu? Like the HDZero goggle is so configurable, but it turns out you can't disable the sleep mode, apparently.
Yeah, I don't have a set of these goggles, but it certainly was not in the list of fixes people were talking about in the issue report. So
all right. Well, that's two. Wasn't HDZero also the one that could like power down if you got a crossfire device too close to the power cable?
Yes. However, that is a problem with avatars, I believe, as well, and the Goggles X, I believe, as well. So I think that's sort of common because the shielding isn't done well. I think DJI is the only one that reliably stands up to that test.
Okay. All right. Well, good to know. If you're flying HDZero, make sure that head tracker's on until the new firmware comes. And we're just here to let you know about it. We got one more PSA, right, Blunty? And this one, I think you and I are we're not so sure we're behind this one. I don't mean to speak for you.
Yeah, I mean, I respect the developers. We've done this for a long time. I understand the developers saw an issue. They think it's out of the bounds of something they have acceptable means for. So they're telling people not to use the BMI270 gyro.
Who's they? Who's they?
The Betaflight developers as a whole. I mean, my understanding is they've made a decision. It's been updated on the Wiki as well. They say not to use that gyro. So basically, to some...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
So basically the issue is that these BMI 270s do not come calibrated from the factory. That's my understanding of the base problem here. And that means that based on the error that it can have up to, I believe, 7% wrong on the rotation, on a rotational axis. So 7.2 degrees, I guess.
That's kind of a big deal.
That. Anyway, it's enough where you will end up in the wrong place if you rotate 360 degrees around. You won't be on an even flat plane. So you can see, here's a description here by CTZ Snooze, which will
now, is that when you say it's underestimating the rotation, that's going to throw off your PID loop too, because you're going to be targeting X degrees per second, but it's going to measure Y degrees per second. It's essentially going to make your rates faster.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how. I haven't really done the math in my head to think about that. But yeah, he says basically if you're going more than 16 degrees per second turning, which is something that you will do almost all the time, integrated gyro data is used.
I see. No, I understand.
Yeah.
It's only, so this would only manifest if you were in angle mode. Because in acro mode, you're just using the gyro data, and it looks like there's a discrepancy between the integrated gyro data and the accelerometer, which means that at the end of the move, when you auto level back to the accelerometer, the quad will not be at the same attitude. Interesting. I didn't understand it until this very moment.
Yep.
But if you're flying only in acro mode, it would just make your rates be slightly different. But here's what's weird to me about this. We've been using BMI 270s. Brain FPV Radix has used BMI 270s for years. BMI 270s became popular when did Betaflight first support them? Was it 4.3 or 4.4 that first supported the BMI 270? I don't know. But like, how is this just now coming out? Is this new?
Yeah. I mean, people just noticed it. I mean, really, is the issue. Rob Rita says, is the BMI warning still relevant? There was a commit on 122. So in 4.5, there are fixes that attempt to fix it. But if you look under the manufacturer guidelines, which is what we've linked here from Betaflight, they specifically are telling manufacturers, do not use this gyro because of this issue.
Who is
they do
Betaflight
not believe
devs?
Yes. So they do not believe it is completely fixable with this PR.
Here's a person demonstrating it. Hang on, let me turn the voice on. Oh, there's no audio. So it looks like he's quickly rotating it. And each time he rotates it 360 degrees, it gets a little bit off. I see. Oh, it's like he's winding it and he's unwinding it. Now it's back. Each time he rotates it, the real quad is rotating 360 degrees. But you can see that the actual measured rotation from the gyro is less than 360 degrees. Holy crap. Wow. That's, how did no one notice this before? This has to be new.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
This has to be new. All right, so...
I mean, yeah.
Is it the BMI gyro?
I think,
just, that's it? It's effed?
I mean, here's my problem with this is like, all I'm saying is like, I agree that this is an issue. It's documentable. It seems like it's a problem. But at the same time, nobody noticed this for over a year, right?
Well, it's because nobody flies in angle mode.
Well, that's fine. Then you're recommending manufacturers not to use a gyro, and you're telling people that this is a bad situation, right? But like,
It's worse because if you're in angle mode, you're not going to do flips in angle mode, right? It only triggers when you're moving more than 15 degrees per second. I guess if you're doing rapid stick movements front to back, you could exceed 15 degrees per second. Maybe nobody noticed it because it really manifests when you're doing, like, if you're flying horizon mode, where you're doing flips and rolls, but then returning to angle mode. And not many people fly horizon mode.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think for me, this is more of a, hey, manufacturers, be aware of this, and then don't add it to your flight controller if you think this is a problem, like Betaflight's recommending. Not like, don't buy these because it's going to ruin everything about how you fly, right? Like, so I guess that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah. AyyyKayyy points out that if, let's say you're flying in acro mode. Oh, I see. If you're flying in acro mode and you do a bunch of flips and rolls, and now your accelerometer is off, and then you GPS rescue, you're totally hosed. Yeah,
certainly, because it triggers the same. Yeah, because anything that triggers angle.
Yeah,
certainly.
Okay. Why can't we just have a calibration mechanism that fixes it?
Well, I know some of the stuff. I'm not an expert on this. I barely even want to talk about this because it's so detailed, right? But what I'll say is, like, from my understanding reading through this, there is a way to flash a calibration onto the BMI, but it is a limited amount of flashes that they can do, like single-digit flashes, as I understand it.
Why?
And then also, somebody told me that iNav has solved this by actually flashing the calibration onto the gyro, but I don't know if that's true or not. But I've heard that somehow iNav fixed this. I don't know.
Why not? And I'm just a poor country chicken. So what do I know? Why not have a calibration mode where you take the drone and you rotate it 360 degrees and put it back on the table? And now Betaflight just stores a multiplier in its EEPROM, a gyro multiplier.
I don't know enough to know why that doesn't work.
Hey, that's a freebie, Betaflight devs. You don't need to credit me. That one's for you. Okay. Let's move on. We good? We ready to move on?
Yep.
Wait, final answer. Should people throw their BMI270 flight controllers in the trash right now and light them on fire?
No. That's sort of why we're doing this, is because the answer is no. But you should know this is a thing. That's where I'm at with it.
Okay, good. And credit to iNav for doing something first, for once. No, I'm just fucking around. I'm so sorry, Pavel. Please don't hurt me.
And if somehow, I'll just say, if somehow manufacturers listening to this don't just use a 42688P, like, you know what I mean? Like, do
that one has problems too.
Yeah, think about like what you're using, and don't just replace it with the next cheapest gyro. Like,
this is the worst hobby. The worst hobby in the world. This is the worst hobby in the world. I don't know why we love it so. We're masochists. Right. Let's talk about some drama in the world of FPV. Major League Drone Racing. We got to give a little bit of background for people who don't know the whole story, but just a little bit of background. I feel like that's fair. What is Major League Drone Racing? Let's start there.
Major League Drone Racing is a think of MLB,
Major League
drones.
Baseball. Yeah.
That's the plan that MLDR had, is they're going to hire a bunch of people to be on teams. Those teams will go and compete at exhibition matches, at like tournament matches and things, and they would win and lose seasons, and like, you follow a team and you hire on teams, all that kind of stuff with MLDR. That's the idea. So far they've had one live event that happened, and we did tell people about that event before it happened, and then after it happened, the next time we heard about MLDR was when MLDR was not paying pilots according to what pilots said they should be paid, essentially.
Some pilots actually reached out to us and said that they were owed money, that they raced in this race, that they were owed some money, and they felt like they weren't being paid what they were owed. And we did the responsible thing and reached out to MLDR, and we actually had a phone call with two representatives from MLDR who gave us their side of the story. And I think our takeaway was that this was probably a contractual dispute where there was no clear like right or wrong, that someone would have to like look at the contract and decide if it was violated, but that the pilots certainly felt like they didn't get what they were told they were going to get, no matter what the contract said. And also, I think we walked away with a little bit of an impression of his name is Richard, what's his, I don't know his full name, Richard, whatever it is.
Tulloch,
thank you. The owner and founder of MLDR. Do you want to try and... I'm going to put you on the spot. What was our impression of him?
I would just say that I came away from that call. It sounded like someone who was new to running a company like this. That's all. You know, I was part of a multi-million-dollar company for a while. I kind of know, and it was a smaller company, right? Because Canvas isn't that big. You just work with a lot of money. So I kind of had the same experience with a similar CEO position, owner position. I'll just say, I don't think he's super experienced with this kind of stuff. It seems like he wants to do the right thing and then sometimes makes decisions that aren't necessarily vibing with that, which is we'll talk about a little bit today. But the one we had before was essentially this pilot paid dispute. He promised the pilots he would give them the money. It just wasn't a time frame set. That still, as far as I know, has not been paid back, but he's promised them to do that. They're going to do that. He released a letter about it to the pilots, and then we followed up on that previously. So now, MLDR has shown back up in the news.
I agree with that. I thought it's hard to tell if someone is like maybe a bad person and just pretending to be, you know, a little bit clueless, or if they're just sincerely trying their best and not succeeding. And I think we walked away from that call feeling like they deserved the benefit of the doubt, that they were a little clueless and making some dumb missteps. And that doesn't excuse the missteps, but that's different than just being like a shitty person who rips people off. We weren't willing to like burn them, if you will, based on the results of that call.
Yeah.
And that brings us up to date today.
Yeah. So today, or, you know, like a week and a half ago, something like that. But today, because we're doing the news today, Anthony Knight, AyyyKayyy, who we've talked about before, made a post on his Facebook page. AyyyKayyy has received a letter from Richard Tulloch.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, sure, yeah. And I'll just say that you know, there are references to MLDR in the document, but it does say it's from Richard Tulloch in his name. So we don't. And
MLDR has not disavowed this letter, as far as we know. So that's where we're at. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and basically this letter says, and we know before we reported that AyyyKayyy was in a partnership with MLDR, and he left and then came back as a pilot. So the first paragraph is basically asserting that he owes them $60,000 for that partnership that he left. And then it also asserts that AyyyKayyy said a bunch of stuff to defame them, and that they think he needs to stop saying stuff, but essentially a cease and desist. And then at the end, they demand that he cease and desist and that he give them $60,000. That's essentially where we're at.
And there are several things about this letter that are interesting. The first one is, how effing stupid do you have to be to send a letter like this to someone like AyyyKayyy when you are wanting to be a drone racing sort of in the community as a staple, and yet, you know, AyyyKayyy has all this history in the community. Obviously, everyone in the drone racing community, I shouldn't overstate it, but is going to be on his side. So, like, no matter how legally right you might or might not be, we don't know. This is a boneheaded move, because, like, everyone's just going to hate you now. That's one way. That's one way to look at it.
I think,
and obviously he's going to publish the letter.
Right. I think the problem here is, like, somehow, like, I don't know. Either he thought AyyyKayyy wouldn't show this, which seems crazy if he's sending a cease and desist in the first place, or he thought that the community would understand that he was doing this for some legal reason and not whatever, right? But, like, to me, this just burns bridges, man. We were already talking about pilot pay issues. We were already getting private messages about issues, you know, in the organization, and now, you know, we're finding out that you're sending a letter for demands and people to shut up about your company. Like, how bad is it? What is going on? Like, why can't, I don't know, man.
No matter how right you might or might not be legally, I can't imagine that anybody in the FPV community who is thinking of working with or for you will look at this situation and go, oh yeah, I want to work with this guy. Right?
Yep.
Like,
I mean, we were already saying that about the pay disputes, you know, if whether the contracts were a problem or not, people had an understanding they didn't get, and like that's already concerning. But now you're gonna like, we're sending cease and desist to past or current / past. I don't know the AK status actually right now because he just got this letter, but like, I mean, this is crazy, right? Like,
here's the other thing about this. I've received letters from law firms before. This doesn't look like a letter from a law firm. And again, I'm not making any hard claims, but do you agree,
My
Blunty?
guess, I think this could be legit if there's a cover letter that we don't see.
Yeah, but like, for example, it says, at
I'm not saying they're a good firm.
At no point does it say, like down at the bottom, it says, even if there's a cover letter that says from the offices of so-and-so and so-and-so law firm, it says, please contact Mr. Tulloch directly within 30 days of your receipt of this letter. In my experience, whenever a lawyer is writing a letter on your behalf, all communication goes through the lawyer. The lawyer does not want any, if you will, ex parte communication, because they want to be privy to everything you say and everything the other person says so they can help you make the right decisions. I have never seen a letter like this that says contact the plaintiff not the plaintiff, the represented party directly. That to me is like, obviously you could just have an incompetent lawyer, but it's a really basic thing, it seems to me. I guess what I'm saying is concur. Like, you might wonder whether this was written by Richard or someone who isn't a lawyer just trying to sound official. Anyway.
Right.
So I will just say it. When we walked out of our call with MLDR, I thought there's no reason to assume. I'm going to give this guy the benefit of the doubt and assume that this is an honest misunderstanding. And now I don't feel that way anymore. You can only get so much benefit of the doubt. If you're going to send a letter like this, like, I understand you don't like that he leaked stuff, and I understand that he was under NDA and maybe shouldn't have leaked stuff, has like where this letter is coming from. I don't know who leaked what, but I guess the assumption of the letter is that AK was leaking stuff, and that's why this letter was written. But this is not the way to handle it, because you could have quietly fired him and then tried to hire other people. But sending him a letter like this is just a really boneheaded move, and it means I would never work with you personally. Yeah. And I don't know who else would. Yeah. So,
I agree.
So that's it for MLDR as far as I'm concerned. Good luck, MLDR, but like, I have no interest in saying anything positive about you at this point. Okay. Well, I'm moving on.
Moving on.
El Chingon says the citations look like they are correctly written. As a lawyer, I guess. So that's something. Let's take a positive story.
That's true.
Good idea, Plenty.
ChatGPT might be able to do citations correctly sometime.
ChatGPT. We have more about that in another day.
Okay. Next up, we've got a story that I think is pretty cool. Madstech has made a wiki, and it's the fpvwiki.co.uk.
Wow.
Previously, we were using repair.wiki, if you guys might remember. And repair.wiki has changed some of their thought process, I guess, on stuff, and maybe they were having issues editing. I can't remember exactly what people said was the problem, but Mads has decided to just fire up his own wiki and get all the images and info on there, so we don't have to worry about it. And we, of course, appreciate him for it, for sure. I think there's credit on some of the pages. Like, I think some MBundy helped on a couple of the things, and like, different stuff. But it's very cool.
There's a lot of info in here. This is amazing. This is, as someone who has written content, like gobs and gobs of content like this before, this is a ton of work. This is a ton of work.
I don't believe it's publicly editable yet. I think they're trying to flesh it out and then get it sort of cemented. But I believe you can contact on the Discord. There's a link for the Discord, Madstech's Discord, and I believe you can contact him and get some info in there if you'd like to help.
Yeah. I have so much respect for Madstech is now, in the running, but for guys like Oscar Leong, I put a video out and I publish the video and that's it. There's no updating a video. You make a new video. But for guys like Oscar Leong who have this massive library of information and who then take the time, and I know Oscar's not perfect at it. You've mentioned that, I've seen you mention that there are some errors or bugs or inaccurate information that you've
he's got a million pages. Sometimes you're going to get stuff wrong.
To even attempt to maintain that body of work is so commendable and so difficult. And I'm kind of jealous, honestly. In a different world, I made a web page instead of videos, and I was Oscar Leong, except I'm not sure I could have kept it up this long as the one work he does. So kudos to him, and good luck to Madstech with fpvwiki.co.uk is the URL. Also linked in the video description.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, you remember that helicopter that's on Mars? We haven't heard about that from a while.
Yeah, we didn't hear about that
news
for a while. It was so successful, and it kept doing flights and stuff, so he kind of chilled on the reporting a little bit because it was sort of the same thing.
Oh, look,
all
another
the time.
flight.
Another flight. Unfortunately, though, this time it's had its last flight. So they lost contact with it, and then they got contact back, but they were able to find out that, unfortunately, one of the rotors has broken, has gotten damaged, and they are not going to be able to fly anymore. So they have ended the mission for Ingenuity.
As with all multi-rotors, in the end, it broke a prop and can't fly anymore. Just need to fly at home. Oh, wait, no, that's a long way. Well, Godspeed, Ingenuity.
72 flights this thing made on Mars.
I mean, that's I've got quadcopters that haven't had 72 flights, and they're here on Earth.
Yes. I think it's extremely impressive what they did, and they know so much information from these. You know what I mean? Awesome. They flew 130 minutes and 11 miles on Mars with the drone. You know what I mean? So
that's crazy.
Yeah, a lot of good data. I think we'll see a lot more supporting with these small helicopter/drone vehicles in the future missions that we see, just because they've proven how well it can do, and how much it can hold up. I mean, it's just wild.
Yep. A boring patch of ground. So it couldn't tell where it was landing, and it damaged its rotor plates.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've got a second article here that just explains why they think it crashed. So
interesting. Look at that cute little helicopter, man. I want a miniature Ingenuity to help. If you had to pick if you had to pick a spirit animal, you could do a lot worse than Ingenuity, right? Just a plucky little helicopter that could, right? Millions of miles, I don't know how many, probably millions, right? Miles and miles away on another planet, just getting up every morning and doing his job, exceeding all expectations. And, broke a prop. Is it like whining and crying? No, just cool. I had a good run. I feel like I want to have a funeral for Ingenuity, right?
Right.
I wanted to think about it. Anyway, Ghost Branch. Exactly, Ghost Branch. That's exactly how I feel right now. Hold on, Blunty, humor me. That's how I feel right now. Yep. Okay. Well, stiff upper lip. We must go on.
Bo Weber asked what the latency's like. I think it was 8 minutes or something. I don't know. Some crazy. I mean, they're doing missions there because it's you can't fly it live. All right.
Well, next up, we're going to pay the bills. We're going to do our plugs for our websites. We don't have sponsors. You're the advertiser. We're the advertiser, and you're the sponsor. Give us your money.
Yeah.
We're going to start with
the first one is FPVKnowItAll.com. This is your website. You can go here to check out the ultimate FPV shopping list. And you can figure out what you want to get on your drone. What you doing? You got racing stuff.
This page has been completely updated. That's news.
Yeah, that's absolutely news.
Completely updated with the help of Limon FPV and the Multi-GP product survey. All the actual products used by top racers and a few other things, because not everybody can be a top racer. There were products on here that Limon went, oh, nobody uses that. I wouldn't put that on there. And I was like, not everybody is you, Limon. But yeah, this page has been completely updated. I'm very happy to be able to say we did it. And there's all kinds of other stuff here that you can check out. If you're looking for what to buy, go check it out. How about you, Blunty? What do you sell? What are you shilling today, man?
Well, I'm selling my time, or not my time. If you want to sign up to my Patreon, that's just you helping me out. I would appreciate that. If you'd like to sign up for troubleshooting, I have one-on-one troubleshooting. You can contact me through Discord at ItsBlunty, and I'm happy to help you out. For $50 an hour, we do one-on-ones, or I could just help you in text chat for free. That's a little secret. Everybody gets some free help as well. Yeah, not really a secret. But
if you want an actual one-on-one call with you, $50 an hour. Very reasonable.
And I think I've had a couple lately that were really like people who had tried for a while to learn with videos, and it just hadn't worked out, and we were able to help them get
No,
through.
absolutely true. There's a point where you could spend hours and hours and hours and hours digging through videos and websites and maybe solve the problem, or you could just have somebody be like, here's what's going on, and explain it to you, and then help you solve it. And there you go.
Yeah.
So contact at ItsBlunty on Discord. Or go to itsblunty.com, which is your website.
Yes.
Okay. Searchfpv.com. Searchfpv.com is a multi-store FPV search engine. You pick which region you want to search in, like the greatest region in the world, the United States. And then you search for what you're going to search for. Ingenuity replacement props. No, that's not going to actually turn anything up, I don't think. But let's see. I want them in stock only. Obviously, these search results are all bogus, but you see how it works. You can see the price. You can see whether it's in stock. You can filter on in stock only. It's a great way when you're searching for something to see where you could get it, especially if you're outside of the United States and you want to limit the search to stores that actually ship like close to you. Searchfpv.com. One more clip, one more plug.
One more plug, and it's the Clips channel. It's the Joshua Bardwell live stream Clips channel where we put up clips from this show. We do this show, and we do the Q&As. You do a Q&A every Sunday and Monday, not every, but most Sundays and Mondays, and then the news on Tuesdays, and all those clips end up getting cut by me and then posted up on the live stream Clips channel.
Yeah, it's great. Oh, I love this one. I love when we go off topic.
The viewers do not, but we do. That's for sure. The
583 views. Yeah,
Nobody else likes these videos.
Suck it. Ooh, 4.6K views, though. That's good. And these are great
DJI,
because if you don't get to watch the whole live stream and you just want the highlights, or, this one, I can't believe this one's not blowing up. I'm
the other
surprised
videos,
it's not
good.
blowing up. Yeah.
That one and the DJI one are well above everything else.
If you want highlights, or if you just are like, what did Bardwell have to say about Express LRS on that live stream one? You can just search the channel and find it, and there's really no other way to do that. So head on over and subscribe at Joshua Bardwell live stream clips. Whew. Okay. Now we got that out of the way.
Yeah.
Let's get on with the news.
Back to the news, and here's where we do our theme segments of the week, where we got different things going on. The first one's going to be a cinematic of the week. The last time we were with you, we showed a cool flight in lava, where a drone got slapped with lava, and then the guy flew it back and was able to land it, and that was pretty cool seeing that. And this week we've got an amped up version of that, I would say.
Ooh,
a video called Into the Volcano.
Okay. As usual, we will not be playing the sound because we don't want to get copy struck on the music, and we're just going to show you enough of it to whet your appetite because we want you to click through and give the views to the original creator who deserves them. There's a link to this down in the video description below. The video is Melted My Drone in the Volcano Cinematic FPV. Here we go. Doesn't appear to be music. Oh, what just happened? Oh, there's music. Okay. I'm not playing music. I'm not doing it. I'm not risking it. Parker Shepard is the creator.
Yeah.
And this is how long is this? It's 13 minutes. We can skip ahead a little bit. Yeah, we got some talking from Parker. Talking, he's getting his drone out.
Yeah, he shows like where they're gonna fly and how they fly. You know, it's a vlog style video with some awesome footage of a volcano.
I'm flying the DJI Tango 2 and the DJI G2. Always, and wow, can you effing imagine, Blunty, taking off and seeing that in the distance? Like,
pretty cool.
How freaking Mordor is this bullshit? Oh, baller move right there. Baller move. Take your right hand off the stick to adjust your goggles. That's how you know this guy's a pro. Personally, I adjust the goggles with the left hand. I find setting the throttle and then, oh, that's a baller move, though. That's how you know this guy's a pro.
Maybe he's mode 3.
Oh, it's true. In that case, the hell with him. He can just F right off. Anybody who doesn't fly mode 2 is a freak and a loser and a pariah. No, what's the word for an outcast? Not a pariah. Pariah?
I think pariah is right.
Okay. My mind is trying to think of a magic card.
I mean, look at these shots. Jeez, look at this.
Okay, yeah, no, sorry. Cinematic. Crazy. Like, how do you even set the exposure for this? Is this on auto exposure? Look at that.
Oh, he's so
fire. Look at that river of molten rock. I move my mouse.
This has got to be a blast to fly.
I mean, the stakes are so high. If you go, like, it looks like CG, dude. It looks like it isn't even real. How hot is that? Right? How hot is that? I can't even imagine.
Between 1,300 and 2,200 degrees Fahrenheit.
Just the radiant heat. Actually, it's not as hot as I would have thought. I mean, it's pretty hot, but it's not as hot as I would have thought. The radiant heat alone is going to be like, how's it not melting your props? This is crazy. Oh, my goodness. Well, I said I was just going to show highlights and not take his whole video. So as much as I would like to just keep watching it, I won't. That's so effing cool. Melted My Drone in the Volcano by Parker Shepard. It's linked in the video description. Go check out the whole thing. Well worth a 13-minute watch. He's got 11K views with 4.37K subscribers. So let's pump that. Let's pump those numbers. Very cool, Parker Shepard.
Absolutely.
Next up,
we've got some events. We want to tell you about some events, but first, we've got event results. Sometimes we like to report event results because maybe you didn't know stuff happened. And we want to let you know what happened and the results of stuff. So there's a race called Bird 2024, the Birmingham International Race Days, which I believe we talked about a little bit ahead of it. But we've got some results from the Bird, including our winner Carb FPV, second place GoPro Master, and third place AyyyKayyy, I believe, TFS.
Yep, congratulations to them for winning. Look at these people came from all over.
If you want to watch any of this stuff, there are recorded versions of the live stream. So we've got linked in the show notes for Friday and Saturday and Sunday, the qualifying and the finals. And they're also having a vlog competition for anybody who wants to tell about how it was there for them. What
nice. Nice. Very, very cool. Congratulations to the winners. And thanks to the folks who set it up out there in Birmingham. And, of course, all the sponsors as well. Great. Next event. We're going to go over some events that are coming up. And the first one is one of my favorite events of the year. Somehow, they tricked me into sponsoring this the first year. And every year he comes back and says, hey, we're doing it again. Do you want to sponsor it? And I go, yeah, sure. And so I'm just a running sponsor of this event. RaceGal.
Yes. So this will be RaceGal. Some people are familiar with iGal. This will be RaceGal, which is the basically the second. This will be the second RaceGal. We had RaceGal season 1 happen already, and this will be RaceGal season 2. And I believe RaceGal is where you set up the UTTs. So basically, like the Universal Time Trials. And so they build little tracks that you've got to set up in your house, and then you set them up, and you try to fly them, and you record your videos of your times, and then you place against everybody all across the world instead of having to go somewhere to race with people. So.
Yeah, that's the coolest thing about the Game of Whoop challenges is you just record yourself doing the challenge and then mail it in. Mail it in. I'm old.
Yes.
I had a birthday. You know how old I am now? I mean, you could probably figure it out if you've known me long enough. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. Okay. I'm 49 now. I'm 49.
I would not have guessed that. Wow.
Yeah, I'm old. So you can mail it in.
Yeah.
Thank you for a long time.
A self-stamped envelope.
Yeah. I remember when the way to get Grateful Dead tapes was to be on a tape tree and mail people blank tapes.
Wow.
Barely. Like that was when I was in college. So, yeah, that's the coolest thing is anyone can participate with just a couple little infrastructure things like a track or something. Here, actually, EDOC has posted the first track.
From last season.
Don't have music, you dumb. Okay, fine.
He didn't know he was going to share it to you.
Okay, but you're right. It's better to have music because that makes people enjoy your video more, but it means I can't share your sound. Okay, I just changed my mind about whether I want to participate.
This was track 1 of last year, and EDOC is a very fast boy. Very fast.
I mean, can we see... Jesus, he's very fast. But all you need to participate is just like some PVC, right? It's like yes. $50 worth of PVC from the hardware store, cut it into pieces, join it together, and go down in your basement and just rip it.
Yeah. This all starts on the 1st in a couple days, and you'll see on the RaceGal site all the rules and regulations and everything will come up along with the first track, so you can make sure you're using the right drone and the right setup and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you don't need too much to get these set up.
Okay. Well, I need to. And now I'm like all inspired, and I'm like, I'm gonna do it, and then I'm gonna like do one track and then get distracted and do something else. But anyway,
I think I will say, I don't know what it's worth here, but I think it would be really cool to see you progress in getting better over the season at whoop racing on these tracks, right? Because how often do you whoop race, right? I'm
trying to get offended at the implication that I would have any room to improve, but actually I can't get there.
You're not going weekly to races. You obviously have tons of room to improve. So like no matter what, right? I think, yeah. Like even if you're the best pilot in the world, if you're not racing,
just because you're right doesn't mean I like you saying it to me. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Race Go. Okay. Enough about that.
I would follow that series. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Well, here's another series.
That's true.
It's Tyrant's Pro Whooper.
Yes.
Tyranttfpv. And what sets TPW apart is its distinctly laid-back, flexible, and ongoing format. There are no strict schedules and punitive measures. Punitive. It's a relaxed and enjoyable atmosphere, very consistent with Tiny Whoops being relaxed and enjoyable. You can participate at your preferred pace and take breaks as needed without facing any consequences. That's interesting. Tyrant Pro Whooper, an immersive freestyle competition. Do we know anything more about this? I don't want to sit here and just read the rules on stream, Blunty. What do we know about this?
Yeah, I gotta say I don't know too much about it. I heard it was already going. Somebody sent me the link to the stuff, and then I started digging through the info a little bit here. I believe it's on week 3 at this point.
Is this a freestyle competition? It is. Oh, great.
2.
And
yeah.
it looks like they're trying. Sorry, guys. I don't prepare. We don't prepare as much as we could. I actually wasn't. I was like, okay, cool. There's a new event. But now that I'm looking at it, I'm like intrigued. It looks like they're trying to do like an open freestyle competition, kind of like figure skating, where like you get points for tricks, you get penalties like for bumps and ground tacks, trick execution, and so on. Very interesting. That's very interesting. The judging process. The judges evaluate the highest scoring videos using specific freestyle flow, tricks, execution, highest streak, highest combo, etc. Very cool. I want to look deeper into this. I'm actually really intrigued. Because like Blunty AyyyKayyy, when they do a freestyle competition, they'll have like a specific trick that you have to perform. You must do 10 power loops in a row, or power loop through your own legs, most in 60 seconds wins, but like you're not just doing a freestyle line that someone's going to judge. So this is very different and interesting. Oh, Tyrant is here in the chat. He says, we upload everyone's scores to the leaderboards and track everyone's progress. It's a whoop freestyle competition based on or inspired by Tony Hawk Pro Skater. There's tricks of the week and quad objectives, but none of these are required to participate. That's very cool. And also brave, because a lot of people have thought, oh, someone should do this. But I don't know anybody who has actually tried. That's very cool, Tyrant. I'd like to, I want to look into this more.
But that's all. Got like, they've even got like collecting quad, like the letters instead of collecting skate.
Like skate.
That's fun.
Very cool.
Yeah.
But for now, we're going to move on. Next up is the Freestyle Kingz contest.
Yes, the FPV Freestyle Kingz contest. If you're a freestyler, there's some stuff for you out. You know what I mean? Lately, that's for sure. And this is a video contest. This is your best uncut line. You get one entry, 45-second length, and then it'll be judged on how good it is, basically. You got to send them into Instagram or Facebook group. You tag them with the FFK comp, and then there's some prizes. There's a frame, motors, and props, some stacks, and things like that. So kind of a fun little freestyle competition by the FPV Freestyle Kingz group.
Uh-oh. Well, we already know who's won. It's Wilbur. No. Yeah. If he enters, it's going to be stiff competition. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
And that's it for the events, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's all the events we got. If you have an event, this is a good time to remind you. Send it in to the FPV News at the email that's down right in the corner of this video over there. News.
Blunty can't point to it because he's on the wrong side. You can't do it. You're on the wrong side of the screen. It's right down here. Okay, now you, Blunty, you put your arm up like it's my arm. Okay, hold on. There we go.
Yeah, wait.
Okay. Oh. There we go.
Okay. All right.
I don't know why that tickles me so much. Before we finish up with our last segment, it's barely news. It's time to read the super chats, and it won't take very long because there's only two of them. One is from Antonio. Actually, I said Antonio with my annoying Italian accent that I was chastised for by Fabio. But Antonio is Swiss. It's Swiss francs. Of course, there's a lot of Italians in Switzerland. It's in Ticino. It's southern Switzerland. I know because I went there. He says, hello, Joshua. Is it possible to install internal crossfire module in Radio Master Boxer? I'm going to go with no. I mean, with enough ingenuity, a Dremel tool, and a 3D printer, anything is possible. But in short, no. Not in any easy way. That's what I would say. I remember
there are no built solutions dropping anything for that. You would have to do that.
I remember when, who was it who made a Spectrum radio with a built-in crossfire? He bodged it in there. So like anything is doable, but no, there's no standalone solution or existing solution. We've also got a $2 super chat from Socks and Rocks who asks, have I ever worked out with Trappy? Like worked out? Like in the gym? I haven't worked out with anybody in probably 20 years. I haven't worked out at all in 20 years. This is all natural, baby. Yeah, it's all genetics. Jesus Electrotechnica, thank you for a €2 super chat. And no question, just a super chat. Thank you so much. Super Deluxe says, as an Italian, I'm offended. As an Italian, Fabio was offended. He was making me dinner, and he said he's going to make a carbonara for me. And I said, you're going to make a carbonara? And he was like, you don't have to say it like that. That's not how all Italians speak. I'm just trying to, have a, Anyway, it's time now for It's Barely News. a whole bunch
That's
of
true.
stories that we think are interesting enough to mention, but that we don't really have a lot to add, and we just want to kind of point at them and go, where are we
True.
starting? Is that right?
Okay. All right. First up, DJI is launching a delivery drone. I think this is interesting. DJI announces the Flycart 30, and they're selling it for $42,000. You can buy the Flycart 30 and make deliveries with the DJI drone. It even comes, my understanding is it comes like with some kind of DJI automation software and route planning stuff, and it sort of just does it all.
Okay.
Yeah, man, I don't know. This is kind of crazy because, okay, so we've talked before about how delivery is probably not viable, right? Like you have to, like there's a lot of struggles to delivery of drones, right? You have to plan everything out, and you have to get your system set up, and you have to have your software, you have to get licensed by the government, you have to get your drones approved, you have to have operators to fly them and waivers, and a big part of that gets removed if you can buy an off-the-shelf supported solution that can be already pre-approved by the government. You know what I mean? And there's a lot less investment when you could just buy 3, run them on DJI Delivery Hub software that comes with the drones, and sort of just do this piecemeal. And I don't know. I think that's actually really fascinating as a concept. I hadn't really. That's not something we discussed when we talked about the ways delivery drones could work out. Right? It's not like, oh, I can actually just buy these drones from a big company. And DJI is the company who could do this, who already produced big drones like this. You know, like who could do this profitably and in a way that makes sense. So I don't know. I'll be interested to see where this goes, who picks these up, how these are done in fleets, and if we see like pop-ups from this.
I foresee many of them being sold to northern Mexico.
I could see that. Yeah. The problem with that is they've got to hack them. I mean, maybe they'll just do that, but like, it's because, all that.
Well,
you're buying this with a software that's going to be super limited, I imagine.
The other thing that I think we've learned is that there is a lot of crossover between the military use of civilian drones and the hobby use or civilian use of civilian drones, commercial use. And so, like, if I were a conspiracy-minded person, I might think that DJI has made this with the idea that in a future situation, it's easy to adapt to military application, and that they don't necessarily expect to sell very many of them, but they want to have a cover story for why they're making them, and that the actual customer is like the Chinese military.
I feel like you could say the same thing about like the Agris or like
100%.
Any of their other, like, if they were doing that, there's already drones for that, right? Like, I don't know. This just
do they
seems
make
like
an ag?
another...
I'm sorry if I'm dumb for asking this. Does DJI make an ag drone? I know they've got like the S1000,
which is basically this, but in an agriculture version that comes with a kit that's kitted out for spraying crops and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Well, yeah, interesting. Who knows, man? DJI. I'll say the other thing I'll say then is that DJI has a history of just taking wild punts at weird shit. Yeah. And like that freaking camera they released with the weird little gimbal, right? What the hell was that?
RS3, right?
Yeah.
And then and then there was the big cinema camera that had that thing on it. Yeah, super strange.
So like maybe this is just a wild punt. Who freaking knows? All right, next up.
Speaking of delivery drones, Wing has launched a new delivery drone. And this is interesting because, we've heard... So, okay, Amazon told us that their goal was 10 miles, 5 pounds, because that covers, like, all the Amazon locations. But Amazon's been going under as far as drones are concerned. It has not gone well. They shuttered a bunch of their stuff, fired a bunch of people. However, Wing has just launched a drone that meets exactly the standards that were set by Amazon. This is a 5 pounds, 10 miles drone. For deliveries. I think that's pretty crazy if this is actually like feasible, and it like, I don't know, we're getting to a point where if you keep ramping these numbers up, it starts to make feasible sense based on delivery range, cost of people driving, like all those kind of things.
Have we ever like badmouthed drone delivery and been like, it won't work?
In the way of like,
we've observed
what they're trying to do is not working, and they keep closing down.
Right. Like I think you and I have observed cases where it has failed.
The biggest problem is you're dumping money into something you don't know is feasibly profitable. You're just hoping that you're getting the technology out of it by continued investment and regenerating new products and like pushing the cart, right? And then like all these tech companies do, you're hoping that like by the end of that, we've got a super great product that was worth all the money we dumped into this, and it will revolutionize the market, right?
Like I'm thinking of solar roadways, for example. Like solar roadways. There's this big push, solar roadways, going to be the next big thing. And a lot of people went, this is stupid, this isn't going to work. There were some pilot projects. They didn't work for all the reasons that everyone said they wouldn't work. And now there's basically dead in the water. Just soaked up a bunch of investment money and was a wasted and a dead end. And there's, you could look at drone delivery as potentially being that kind of dead end, that like everybody tried it. I'm trying to think of other examples that got more established but then petered out and now they're just gone, but I'm just blanking on them. 3D televisions. Remember those?
Yeah, sure.
Like there was this time when 3D televisions, and then like now where are they? They're not there. It didn't work. It's a dead end.
You don't have your active glasses for your 3D television?
No. So like, excuse me. So like, it's interesting because like, it's a little unclear to me whether drone delivery is going to reach a point where suddenly the technology overcomes the drawbacks, or whether it's like just going to kind of peter out and never get there. And it's starting to look like it might get there.
The problem is we don't know anything on the back end, right? So like, they made a new drone. It hits exactly the goals that they were doing. And in a lot of situations, this will make it feasible if the cost of the drone over time, plus the cost of working the controls, plus the cost of running the business, plus the cost of doing the permitting, plus the cost of insurance, right? Like if all that works out, then yes. But like we just don't know what the numbers are for all that stuff. It's just that like, hey, the tech is pushing forward. The tech is in a position where they will be able to get things approved that are doing the numbers they say. It's just a question of like, does that all work out financially? Google's still, pushing really hard, but Google loves to shut stuff down all of a sudden. I do not trust. I have been burned so many times by Google's services that I relied on that Google rug pulled me. And I will never, like when someone says, hey, there's this new website, you should try it. If it's a Google website, I'm like, nope, just not going to do it. Like Gmail feels pretty safe, but other than that, very skeptical. I'm so resentful over the loss of Google Reader. Can I just say? Oh, I remember Google Reader.
Google Reader. Yeah. Google Reader was their RSS aggregator. And this was back when blog content was really big and video content wasn't quite big yet.
There was a time where, kids, you would go onto your computer and you didn't have YouTube to go to.
Yeah.
So like you would just pull up your RSS reader and you would get a whole list of things to go check out. So good. And that would be that was how your day was. That was articles.
It was articles to read about all kinds of things, anything you wanted to read about. And I would sit at the breakfast table and my wife would be mad at me. She would be like, I would be making conversation. I'd be like, oh, hey, there's this new article. And then she'd be like, you're just reading me your reader. That's not conversation. I miss those days. Google just killed it, and I stopped reading RSS, and now RSS doesn't exist anymore.
I was going to say, for me, it died about the time that I needed an RSS reader, though. I will say, like it felt like maybe like a year or two early, but that was when I started to transition into reading differently. Though there was a whole period where it was like, I'm going to automatically open 20 tabs instead, and like, that was good times.
Good times. Okay. Oh boy, a parachute drone. A parachute drone?
Yes.
Oh, you thought I skipped one, didn't you? What's that?
I want you to watch this video and tell me if you think this is a good idea.
Okay. This is interesting. Ah! That guy's hosed. You should have worn your safety line. The fuck? It's like the little cloud in Mario Kart. Right, with the little fishing line picking him up.
Yeah, Latiku? I always get the name.
I don't know. Full self-driving 01. Does this guy know that FSD is already taken? Okay. So
Yes. So this is obviously like, this is not a thing, right? This makes no sense. Right?
have they demoed it? Have they demoed it anywhere except for a 3D model?
No, this is a bunch of, no, absolutely not.
How would it deploy fast enough and get lift? Like if you couldn't deploy a parachute in time to stop the fall, how will you deploy? Like that needs like a drogue chute to cause it to deploy.
Yeah,
right?
It almost seems like there's a better solution for this, and it's called a parachute.
What you're gonna need like a drogue chute to help pull it out and get the prop spinning. You know, at which point could you just?
I know the story is not like I'm about to say, but like the idea that everybody has about the story, where like the Americans designed a pen that could write in space, and then the Russians use a pencil,
which was actually that's bullshit. I mean,
right. But that idea is how the story feels, right? Like these guys invented a way for a drone to catch you when you're falling in a like a parachute, and the other team just used a parachute.
That's correct. That's a parachute. That's the correct. Like, I understand why you can't deploy a parachute when you're falling off because like base jumping is dangerous and the parachute won't deploy correctly. But all of the reasons why you can't deploy a parachute in time to stop the fall are also why you can't deploy this thing in time to stop the fall until proven otherwise. Like, if this guy had a team throwing a dummy off a tower and showing it deploy, I'd be like, I'm wrong. You're a genius.
Right.
But he doesn't. And I think I know why. He only has a 3D rendering of the, like, here we go. Ready? Right here. Okay. Stop. What causes this to separate from his body?
Yeah, nothing good. Because the best case, it's like some detector or some shit. And that's not what you want in a thing that's supposed to save your life when you fall.
Also, how much does it weigh?
Oh, God, who knows?
I don't know.
I did not find a weight.
I will say this, though. I want a drone that's going to lift me up into the air and carry me around on a string. If the concept was you wear this backpack and then if you need to go up high somewhere, the drone comes out and takes you up there and then goes back in your backpack. And then when you need to go down, it flies up and picks you up and takes you down. Like that's at least something a parachute can't do. Right? Yeah.
But like, this is not that.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
All right.
You know my favorite thing for It's Barely News.
That's true. We do know your favorite thing, and it's doggos.
It's doggos getting rescued by drones.
Yes.
Yay.
And then another great story, and another proof that, like, hey, if you have somebody with a thermal drone, please go help find dogs. Another drone has found another dog. This dog was missing for 12 days. And they were
12 days? That dog looks like it's been missing for 12 days. Oh, well, here's what I want to know. How the F is there nothing else in that field that's lighting up that thermal cam? There's got to be a million things in that field. There's going to be deer and raccoons, and why is there only a dog?
I'm guessing it has to be experienced operator, right? Like that knows like what they're looking for, or knows how to like scan areas or something. Because like, I thought about that too. I'm like, what if I had a thermal drone? And I'm like, there's probably like animals everywhere, right? Like there's,
Get that dog some food. That poor hungry dog. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. You know, I have to say, though, I'm reminded of the Louis C.K. You were like, hey, go help find dogs. You know, there's a Louis C.K. joke that he's like, for most of human, I'm not going to do it justice. You should go watch him do it. For most of human history, like, if a baby died, they'd be like, oh, it's a shitty baby. And you're like, I don't know, this is a bad baby. You're going to try to have some good babies. And now, like, the worse the baby is, the more we want to save it. Like, maybe the dogs. I like dogs that don't get lost in a field for 12 days. Maybe we're just saving like the bad dogs.
That's not. None of them are. They're all good boys. They're all good boys.
Okay, but babies. Go watch the Louis C.K. joke. Nah, my heart's not in it. My heart's not in it.
So. Today, normally we would end the show with a thermal finds drone dog thing, right? Mm-hmm. But we're going to do a little news after dark sort of situation. This isn't really after dark. It's not. No, we're not going to show anything bad, but like this story has adult themes. So, be prepared. Okay, so. menace in Oklahoma City suburbs. And yeah, somebody has used a drone to deface a lot of public things.
Okay, they're dropping. They're dropping. I'm guessing that they're like suction cups, so they stick.
Yes.
A string of adult toys left on buildings, light poles, even the water tower and more have the whole town talking.
One man said he saw a
Steele, where are
drone
you?
leave one side of the Walmart near Southwest 19th and South Telephone in a video posted yesterday. And that is where we find Fox 25's Tom Ferguson tonight. So, Tom, any word on who is behind this?
This is like
Wendy, at last update, police had no idea. Now, there were a couple of those objects stuck to some of the light posts behind me, but crews took them down just as...
Light posts behind me. They're like, hey, Tom, we need you to go on scene.
Right.
Ooh, what is it? Is it a car accident? Is it a crime scene? Nope. It's a telephone pole that had a sex toy stuck to it.
Yeah. So
I like to imagine that long pause when they threw to him wasn't the satellite delay. He was just sitting there going, what am I doing with my life? And then finally it was like, okay, let's go. And he started his read.
Right. This is like, to me, this story, like, there's just a lot of little things that keep adding up for the story. But like, if you skip a little farther into the story here, that video, I want to like show just, I don't know what town they're in or what's happening over there, but if you go to 1 minute
one
in,
of the objects stuck to the side of the Walmart. Here's another that one woman saw on the South Telephone light pole. And here's what was left on the more water tower. Residents also reported sightings near Southwest 119th and Western. That was where a wild turkey that caught the town's attention.
What the hell are we doing? We're gonna, in addition to sex toys, there's a turkey. This hurts.
Well, listen, wait, go back 5 seconds and play it again. Wait, and play listen to the whole thing they're about to say. It's ridiculous.
Used to hang around before reportedly being hit by a car and killed in October. By mid-afternoon on Thursday, though,
why do we need
crews taking the objects at 19th and Telephone down?
We just got a turkey. We just got some town turkey update.
By the way, you remember that turkey that died? Anyway, back to the sex toys.
Yeah, this story is crazy.
This town is hopping. They're hopping. This is the most exciting thing that's happened in this town since the time there was that turkey.
Since the time that somebody hit that turkey, yeah.
Turkeys are like, I mean, don't get me wrong. If I like look out the window and I see some turkeys, I'm like, hey, turkeys! I'm excited, but it's not newsworthy.
Right. Also, I think it's kind of funny that they had to get a bucket truck out to remove the one off the light pole.
Of course.
Like,
I mean, to be honest,
nobody's got a shoe.
I mean, it was stuck up there so good.
Yes, so.
Ma'am, you've been up there for a while. Are you getting it down?
Okay.
Okay. Well, that's going to do it for tonight. Thank you, Blunty, for all the work you put into the news. And thank you guys for showing up and watching the news. We will see you next week. As a reminder, my live stream schedule in February is a little bit. There's going to be a couple of missing streams, but if you go to the live streams page, hang on. If you go to the live stream tab on my YouTube, it's right here, live. I've got almost all of February scheduled in advance, so you can see which days I will and won't be streaming, and even hit a notification at the scheduled start time to get notified for when it's going to be. So we will see you there.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Blunty.
Thank you, Joshua. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Let's see if I can end the broadcast intentionally this time.